Hello and welcome to this presentation. The presentation is called The Multiplication Table as an Innovative Learning Analytics Application, based on the paper with the same title we wrote together with Behnam Taraghi and Professor Martin Ebner from the University of Technology of Graz in Austria. The agenda of this presentation, I would like to begin with an introduction to our work and then describe the steps we made to reach our target, in this case, the multiplication table trainer, followed by a summary of our results and to finish with a discussion and outlook in the topic. To begin with the introduction, our target was to develop an application that helps the children to learn the multiplication table. This system should also support or help the teachers to support their pupils during the learning process. In the next slide, I would like to show some aspects of our work, like the consideration of the previous system, the state of the art, the different stakeholders, and the modern technologies we use to develop the application. To the previous system, the multiplication table trainer was rebuilt as a part of a bigger system, which consisted of a user manager that administrated the user and their roles, of a prototype of the multiplication table that was developed before, its logic, its algorithm, and different mobile applications that communicated to the separate parts through web services. The algorithm was adapted and rebuilt in the new application, and this algorithm bases its logic on the degree of competence. This variable aims to select questions based on the user knowledge. To initiate this variable, the system presents the user two initial questions, and after then this variable is being regulated every time the user answers a question. Through this variable, the algorithm classificates the questions in unknown questions, in known questions, and in well-known questions, and present these questions to the user in a way that that repetition is being avoided, and in a way to motivate the user and to gradually increase the degree of the difficulty of the questions. State of the art consists in three main aspects: learning analytics as an innovative research field which exploit and retrieve and present information or gathered information in a useful way, usability on the one hand, responsive design, and on the other hand, the representation of the data in a way that user can achieve the application goals in an effective and efficient way. And as the main stakeholders of the application are children, we tried to put in our applications gamifications and fun factors. We wanted to use open source technology and to reach all platforms, and also to develop in a modular structure in order to reuse our code and to be flexible for further developments and for other technologies. We considered previous systems and attempts we made, and also we wanted to have the opportunity, or to offer the opportunity, to communicate with third-party applications, like for example mobile applications. We decided to develop a web application divided in front-end and back-end, and from the front-end we used web technology like HTML, AngularJS, Node, and so on, and from the back-end we used PHP, Zend, and MySQL Doctrine, and so on. The advantages of these technologies are clear. They define or they use design patterns which define a clear structure, and they have big communities after them, and with these technologies we are always up to date. The image shows simple structure of the application, how the parts are divided and how the design patterns are applied, and how the parts communicate between each others, but also how the server part communicates with the other applications of the bigger system. The roles of the multiplication table trainer are the pupils or the students, the teacher, the administrators, and the supervisor. And in the next slides, I am going to show the main views these roles can access. For example, this view, this is the most common view for the children, and this is how a question is presented from the system, and within a given time, the child can answer this question. And for a correct answer, the child can gain points, which can then be used to enable or activate the game characters, which define then also the layout of the system. On the other hand, the child has the possibility to view its own statistic and to check the correct or the false answers given. There is also the possibility to have overview of all presented questions in the activity screen, but also to see the characters, the presented or the activated or enabled game characters till now. The data for the teachers is being presented in different forms. We use bar diagrams or pie charts, but also matrix representation or table representation of the data. The teachers have the possibility to view the data in a clustered or a grouped form, but also to scale in a detailed form of them. Like, for example, in this screen, the teacher can view all details of the activity made from one single student. One of the most interesting views of the administrators is the matrix representation. It is interesting because the information or the user can access the information or see the trends of the information at once. In this case, the colors represent the grade of difficulty with which the questions were answered. In this case, light green stays for easily answered, and dark red for answered with more difficulties. And an administrator can distinguish at once the trends of the information and how the students reacted to different or answered different questions. The last role, the supervisor role, was introduced in order to give feedback and to support the users that actively use the application. The supervisor simulates all the views that the user can access, and so we can give to the user directly feedback or support if needed. We gathered till now many data. For example, there are at least 18 schools that are actively using the application. There are at least 7,000 users that answered more than 2 questions, and we have in our database more than 1 million answers stored. The chart shows how the users reacted to different events during the development of the application. For example, how they reacted to different features and how they reacted to different events, like, for example, school holidays or improvements in the application. The technology we use gives us the possibility to extend and to be flexible for new features. For example, we can use other frameworks like Ionic and Cordova to build mobile apps with the same look and feel like the web application, but we can also extend features like for example, to share content between user or to improve gamification, but also to replace parts of the application, like for example the algorithm. If you want to try this application, please follow this link. Thank you very much for your attention.